The darkness of space stretched endlessly, a canvas of glittering stars and distant suns. Yet amid the calm tension simmered in the corridors of the human starship Odyssey Dawn, Captain Rin Hallier stood on the bridge, her gaze fixed on the holographic display of uncharted space. Beside her, Lieutenant Torin Vach monitored the energy signatures flickering across their sensors. "Captain, we're approaching the sector designated 7 Zeta," Torin said, his voice a blend of caution and awe. His scales, pale reminders of his distant homeworld's environment, caught the dim light of the bridge, reflecting it in a subtle dance of silver. "Good," Rin replied, her fingers lightly brushing the console. "Keep an eye out for anything unusual. We've been sent to explore, not to provoke." Her voice carried the weight of command, but there was an unspoken thrill beneath it, the kind that comes from standing at the edge of the unknown. They were not alone. Somewhere beyond the folds of space, the Zoran fleet watched, its ships enormous, jagged, and menacing. General Kale Venok, the commander of the Zoran forces, leaned over the bridge of his flagship Iron Talon, his mandibles clinking as he growled. "They think they can enter our territory without consequence?" Venok's eyes glowed faintly purple, a reflection of his anger. "Their fragile skin cannot withstand our weapons, yet they carry a fire within them. This will amuse me." Back aboard the Odyssey Dawn, the humans moved with an almost effortless coordination that belied their limited experience in deep space operations. Gina Moreau, the ship's chief engineer, tapped commands into the systems panel with precision. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple energy fields closing in. They're unlike anything in the database." "Show me," Rin ordered. The view screen lit up with a swirling mass of Zoran warships, their sheer size dwarfing the Odyssey Dawn. "Torin, bring us to defensive formation Gamma." Gina charged the quantum shields to maximum. "Let's see how delicate humans handle this." The Zoran vessels fired the first volley. Green plasma bolts streaked across the void, tearing through empty space and leaving behind a trail of energy residue. Alarms blared aboard the Odyssey Dawn, but the humans did not panic. Rin's eyes narrowed. "Deploy the decoys. Activate the microswarms. Do it now." Hundreds of tiny autonomous drones launched from the Odyssey Dawn, dispersing in a chaotic cloud that danced around the Zoran projectiles. Some drones exploded on impact, scattering energy pulses, while others latched onto enemy hulls, slicing and disrupting their armor with precision lasers. The Zoran officers watched in disbelief as their coordinated attack faltered. "What kind of species fights like this?" muttered one of Venok's lieutenants. "They have no shields strong enough, no natural defenses. Yet they adapt faster than any protocol can calculate." Rin's voice came calm but firm. "Torin, plot an intercept course around the flank. Gina, keep the drones synchronized. I want them guessing every move we make." The humans moved like a single organism, their ingenuity transforming desperation into tactical advantage. In the midst of the chaos, Dr. Elin Kaur, the ship's xenobiologist, observed the enemy vessels with fascination. "They're trying to anticipate us using standard algorithms," she whispered to herself. "They don't understand that humans don't fight like anything they've ever cataloged. We improvise, we evolve, and they can't predict creativity." The Odyssey Dawn's smaller size gave it an edge in maneuverability. Rin ordered the ship to dip into an asteroid belt, weaving between massive rocks with uncanny precision. The Zoran warships, larger and slower, struggled to follow. Plasma bolts ricocheted harmlessly off stone while the human vessel struck back, targeting weak points in the enemy hulls. Venok's fury intensified. "Destroy that vessel! Crush them before they learn anything." Yet every command was met with frustration as the humans seemed to anticipate his moves. Not by intuition, but by learning, adapting, and exploiting the smallest gaps in his strategy. "Captain," Torin said, his voice tight with tension, "the lead Zoran ship is broadcasting a surrender protocol. It's unexpected." "Don't relax yet," Rin replied, though a faint smile tugged at her lips. "They've only begun to understand us. We need to ensure this encounter teaches them caution, not complacency." From deep within the Odyssey Dawn's hold, the crew prepared a signal of their own, a transmission encoded in a language the Zoran had never encountered. It was a subtle mixture of light pulses, sound waves, and energy fluctuations, designed not to destroy but to disorient. As the message rippled through the void, the Zoran fleet faltered. "They're communicating with us," Venok growled, the sensation alien and unsettling. "They are so small, so fragile, and yet..." His voice trailed off as the Odyssey Dawn slipped past the battered fleet and disappeared into the dark expanse, leaving a stunned enemy behind. Back on the bridge, Rin exhaled slowly. Today we remind them that strength is not always measured in armor or firepower. She looked at her crew, pride swelling in her chest. We are human, and they will learn that the smallest spark can ignite the greatest change. As the Odyssey Dawn vanished into hyperspace, Dr. Kaur recorded a final note in her log. Humans are not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most dangerous, but they are unpredictable. And in the vast silence of space, unpredictability can be the most powerful weapon of all. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, and somewhere beyond the horizon, new challenges waited. Humanity had entered the galactic stage, and no one, not even the Zoran, would underestimate them again. The silence of deep space was shattered by the sudden roar of alien engines. Captain Arden's hands danced over the controls of the human vessel Horizon Sentinel, his brow furrowed but his eyes alight with focus. Around him, the bridge crew moved with a precision that belied their small numbers. The sensors had detected a fleet of Creve ships, a species infamous for their cold logic and unyielding aggression, converging on the mining outpost on Artemis IV. First Officer Leora checked the readings again, her voice steady despite the alarms blaring. "They're closing fast, Captain. Projections put them at attack range in 37 standard minutes." "Then we don't waste a second," Arden said. "Prepare the drones, activate defensive protocols, and get our auxiliary systems online. We're not going to let them take what's ours without a fight." Across the void, Creve commanders analyzed the small human fleet, their multifaceted eyes glinting with disdain. "These creatures are fragile," hissed Commander Velkar. "Barely able to withstand normal conditions, and yet they place themselves in our path. It will be amusing to destroy them." But human unpredictability was already in motion. Arden's plan was simple yet brilliant. The Horizon Sentinel's drones, normally used for mining and maintenance, would now serve as mobile traps. Each drone was equipped with electromagnetic disruptors and microlasers, capable of tearing through Creve hulls if coordinated properly. "Deploying drones," Leora confirmed. With a few swift commands, hundreds of drones separated from the human ship, forming a swirling storm around the Creve fleet. The aliens expected a straightforward assault, but the drones moved with chaotic precision, weaving between each other in patterns that made targeting nearly impossible. Velkar growled as their sensors began to flicker. "What is this sorcery?" one of his lieutenants demanded. "Our scans are ineffective. Their formations impossible to predict." The Horizon Sentinel fired its first volleys, not at the Creve vessels directly, but at the larger debris fields and asteroid fragments, sending them spinning into the alien ship's paths. Explosions rippled across the void as the first Creve vessels collided with debris. Human ingenuity, combined with their small numbers, had created a battlefield that turned the Creve advantage into chaos. In the midst of the battle, Arden monitored his crew. Jace, the young tactical officer, was adjusting drone coordinates with lightning speed, his mind moving faster than the sensors themselves. Marin, the engineer, patched micro-damages on the fly, rerouting power from damaged sectors to shields, all while anticipating the Creve's maneuvers. "They adapt too quickly," Velkar growled. "Every strategy we employ is countered before it even reaches them." "Humans are more dangerous than they appear," whispered a Creve lieutenant. "Their creativity is unlike anything in our archives." As the battle intensified, human communication proved another advantage. The crew of the Horizon Sentinel was linked not only by systems, but by intuition and rapid decision-making. Arden called out commands in bursts, the crew responding almost instinctively. Each maneuver, each adjustment, felt like a carefully choreographed dance designed to outwit an enemy who relied on rigid tactics. Back on Artemis IV, the mining outpost continued its quiet work under the cover of the chaotic engagement above. Director Mi oversaw the defensive shields, ensuring the civilians were safe. Her calm demeanor inspired confidence, even as explosions lit the sky. She knew that every second the human ships held the Creve fleet at bay, gave them precious time to evacuate and prepare countermeasures. Velkar's frustration grew. Entire fleets had fallen to humans before, not through brute strength but through unpredictability and raw adaptability. The Creve commanders recalculated, attempting to find patterns in the humans' tactics, but every attempt failed. The Horizon Sentinel adjusted drone patterns, redirected debris collisions, and even feigned retreats to lure Creve ships into traps. "Captain, we have a problem," Jace said suddenly, his fingers flying across the tactical interface. "They've adapted one of our drone patterns. A small contingent is breaking through toward the outpost. Arden's eyes narrowed. He had anticipated such adaptability. Redirect 3 units to intercept, then overload the decoys near their lead ships. Marin prepped the plasma conduits for secondary defense bursts. The battle became a dance of anticipation, each side learning from the other in real time. The Creve, with their superior firepower, were initially confident, yet every attack seemed to rebound on them. The Horizon Sentinel exploited every weakness, human creativity overcoming technological inferiority. Amid the chaos, an unusual event occurred. One of the human engineers, a quiet yet brilliant mind named Ellen, identified a vulnerability in the Creve's shield modulation. She proposed a risky maneuver. A focused disruption pulse directed at the lead vessel's energy core, timed precisely with the drone swarm's interference patterns. It was a gamble, but human courage thrived in the face of uncertainty. "Execute," Arden said, trusting Ellen's judgment. The pulse launched, threading through the maze of drones and debris, striking the Creve flagship. For a brief moment, silence enveloped the battlefield. Then, with a cascade of blinding light and a shudder that echoed through the void, the flagship erupted. Nearby ships scrambled, their formation disrupted, their confidence shaken. Velkar seethed, realizing that brute force alone would not win. Humans, with their limited resources, had leveraged ingenuity, speed, and teamwork to inflict a decisive blow. The remaining Creve ships faltered, retreating in confusion, unwilling to face further unpredictable tactics. Arden exhaled, his hands loosening on the controls. The Horizon Sentinel had held its ground, buying time for Artemis Ear and showcasing humanity's unique strengths: creativity, adaptability, and unwavering determination. As the dust of battle settled, the humans turned to each other, not with fear, but with relief and quiet pride. They had survived against impossible odds, proving that even in the vast, indifferent expanse of space, the human spirit could not be easily broken. "This is only the beginning," Ellen said softly, almost to herself. "And we will be ready," Arden replied, his gaze fixed on the distant stars. "We always are." Humanity had shown that physical strength was not the ultimate measure of power. Adaptability, teamwork, and unyielding resolve had turned fragile flesh and bare skin into an unbreakable force. And somewhere across the galaxy, other civilizations began to take notice. The laugh that once echoed at humanity's expense was fading, replaced by something far more cautious: respect, and perhaps a touch of fear. The Horizon Sentinel continued its patrol around Artemis Fowl, vigilant and prepared, knowing that this victory, though significant, was just the first step in humanity's journey through the stars. The universe was vast, full of wonders and dangers alike, and the humans had proven they were more than capable of meeting both. The Horizon Sentinel drifted in the quiet aftermath of the battle, the distant remnants of the Creve fleet disappearing into the void. The bridge was filled with a tense, cautious relief. For a moment, the crew allowed themselves to breathe, the weight of what they had accomplished settling in. "Status report," Captain Arden said, his voice calm but firm. "Minor hull damage," Marin replied, scanning her instruments. "Drones are intact. Shields are stable. Artemis IV is secure." Ellen, still staring at the tactical interface, finally looked up. "Captain, the Creve won't forget this. They'll return, and next time they'll come prepared." Arden nodded. "Then we'll be ready. Every engagement teaches us something. Every victory makes us stronger." The outpost on Artemis IV hummed quietly, its shields shimmering faintly against the void. Civilians emerged from shelters cautiously at first, then with growing relief as the realization sank in. They had survived. Director Mee stepped outside to greet them, her calm authority grounding everyone in the reality that humanity had endured yet another test. "Leora." The first officer approached Arden. "The drones performed beyond expectations. Our tactics, our unpredictability was their weakness. We turned their advantage against them." "Yes," Arden replied. "Humans have always thrived when forced to think, to improvise. We adapt, we endure. That is our greatest weapon." As the crew celebrated quietly, a subtle tremor in the sensors caught their attention. Not hostile, not immediately threatening, but unmistakably present. Arden frowned. "Something's coming." The stars outside seemed to shift, as if the universe itself were taking note. Across light years, whispers of humanity's ingenuity were spreading, reaching ears that had never before considered Earth a force to reckon with. Allies and enemies alike would begin to see humanity differently now. Whatever it is, Arden said, turning to his crew, we face it together. We've survived impossible odds before, and we will do it again. Humanity doesn't just survive, we rise. The Horizon Sentinel powered its engines, lifting off from the orbit of Artemis III. The stars stretched ahead, endless and vast, but for the first time, they felt not like an indifferent void, but a canvas, one that humanity could boldly paint upon. As the crew prepared for the next chapter of their journey, Captain Arden allowed himself a rare smile. Victory was theirs today, but the adventure, the challenge, was only beginning. And somewhere, in the shadows between stars, distant eyes observed humanity's ascent, realizing that a small, fragile species had just shown the galaxy the true meaning of resilience. The Horizon Sentinel sailed onward, a symbol of hope, courage, and the unbreakable human spirit, ready to face whatever lay ahead, the end.